What's up, guys? Dan Theory here again. Beerfield Fantasy Shots episode is Monday. Means it's our top shelf and well episode, letting you guys know who had a great Sunday, who had a shitty Sunday, what this may mean for some of these players. And then I'll news later on tonight as I let more pile up. There's some obviously stuff coming out right now based on a lot of the fights that broke out and things like that. But I'll get into that into the other news portion, which will be dropped later on tonight. Again, Dan Theory at Theory BFF is where you can find me on Twitter. You can find the show page at Beerfield Fans at Beerfield FF on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube at Beerfield Fantasy Football. Obviously, just keep liking, subscribing, helping us out. Let us know what we're doing, all the things we can improve on, all the things that we're doing right, things like that. So we're gonna jump right into the top shelves. I'm listing these by 5 apiece for top shelf. The top 5 scores based on our league of record scoring, which is a half point PPR, very other minor adjustments, but you can pretty much tell. Next, so we'll jump into quarterbacks. Like I said, Jared Goff, 14 of 22, 311 yards, 4 touchdowns, 32.4 points. He had himself a Deshaun Watson day. Didn't need to do a whole lot. Was able to pick apart this Giants defense. So fun note, he had no pressures on him. He had no hits. He didn't take a single hit. He had all the time in the world to throw, and he picked them apart. So this 2016 rookie class looking pretty fucking good, as all 3 of them are on this list. Next, Tyrod Taylor, 29 out of 40, 285 yards, plus 2 carries, plus for 29 out of 40 for 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, plus 6 carries for 35 yards, and a rushing touchdown for 28.9 points. A lot of this was done in garbage time. Either way, we don't give a shit. It's fantasy football. He had the ugliest top 5 finish of the week, but who gives a fuck? He was my start of the week, so hopefully you played him. Carson Wentz, 15 of 27 for $199 and 4 touchdown passes. Also carried the ball twice for 8 yards, 28.8 points. Wentz, this was the matchup that people were looking at. Is he for real? Not just for fantasy, but just in terms of actual football. This was one of the best defenses in the league, and he looked fantastic. Didn't need to throw a lot, obviously a $199, but this entire offense looked legit to the point where I'm a little concerned for Denver. But great day for Wentz all around. If you played him, you got rewarded. Dak Prescott, 21 of 33 for 249. 2 touchdown passes plus 3 carries for 27 yards and a rushing touchdown, 28.7 points. He's back. Like, last week was weird, weather-based, game script, things like that. They didn't really need him to do much. He comes out this week. I predicted the shootout to a certain extent, and we kind of got it. He had himself a great day. Obviously, 28 points isn't a floor, but this was a great matchup for him, and you got rewarded if you played him. Lastly is Jake motherfucking Cutler, 34 of 42, 311, through 3 touchdowns, 27.4 points. He started out the game 16 straight passes, completed a lot of checkdowns, got both Williams and Drake involved heavily. And then I'll mention Julius Thomas here when we get to tight ends, but finally he got Thomas involved. This was the offense that we expected to see. Maybe the trade of Ajayi really sparked, really lit a fire underneath these guys' asses that anyone could have been traded, so now they're stepping up. Moving on to running backs. Top 5 again. Alvin Kamara, 10 carries for 68 yards, 1 touchdown run, plus 6 catches and 7 targets for 84 yards and receiving touchdown, 28.2 points. He was the main factor. Mark Ingram got his own, but Kamara really held his own, took his own for this, and this was his game. Finally had another breakout game, obviously showing why he's worthy of not just a flex option, but an RB2 grade on him going forward. Corey Clement, I doubt anyone played him, but if you did, like I did in some dynasty leagues or some really, really deep leagues, he got rewarded. 12 carries, 51 yards, plus 2 rushing touchdowns. Also caught his own target for 15 yards, and that one for a touchdown, 25.1 points. This was his breakout game. He's been the best running back in this backfield since preseason. It made the trading for Ajayi seem weird. You weren't sure who was going to be the odd man out when they made that trade, and it looks like to be Smallwood. What we do know is that it's not Corey Clement, which is what I like to see. He did some of his work in garbage time, but a lot of this also came when the game was somewhat kind of not really close, but either way, great game if you played him. Matt Forte came next. 14 carries, 77 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Got all 4 of his targets for 19 yards, 43.6 points. I got fucked by this. If the Fournette suspension would have been called a little bit sooner, I'm going to put Forte in. But like Hopper played Forte during the Zeke thing, and he got rewarded with that. Obviously, Forte had himself a great day. The Jets' offense continues to be really surprising, and Forte is a benefactor of that. I believe he's put up over 10 points in nearly all scoring in at least half-point PPR formats over the last like 4 weeks in a row. So he's not just a flex start, but he's got the RB2 grade 2 on him now. Next, our main should have been what we see up there person. Todd Gurley, 16 carries, 58 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, caught 2 of his 3 targets for 45 yards, 23.4 points. This entire Rams offense fucking killed it. So not much else to say there. Marshawn Lynch finally makes a fucking appearance. It's been a while. 14 carries, 57 yards, plus 2 rushing touchdowns, caught both of his targets for 6 yards. 19.3 points. Finally got himself going. He still looked a little inefficient running at times, but as the game wore down and he was able to wear down this Miami front, he started to see a little bit of older beast mode to him. Just keep in mind though that Richard and Washington still do get their own. Washington got some of the earlier backup work, and then Richard started to come in a little bit later into the game. So those running backs. Moving on to receivers. T.Y. Hilton, 5 of his 9 targets for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns, 32 points on the dot. Fucking murders bad secondaries. Last week, the last couple of weeks, it's been Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle also had his own today, but T.Y. finally got himself going. If your trade deadline hasn't passed yet, fucking you gotta move him. He is the pinnacle boom bust receiver right now. He is literally the new Deshaun Jackson, right now. Alshon Jeffrey, my stat of the week. I apologize if you listened to me. To be fair, I was not the only one of all these so-called experts, and the ones that are actual experts said to sit on. This was a terrible matchup. I sat him in a league, got burned by it. Even though it looks like I could still have a chance to pull out a victory. He got 6 of his 11 targets for 84 yards, plus 2 touchdowns. His first touchdown was amazing. Made a great play, 23.4 points. Basically, Wentz did what everyone does with Jeffrey, what they should do with Jeffrey, and that just throw the football up and let him make plays. Like I said, terrible matchup, but it really paid off. So I apologize for those that sat him, and they listened to me. My bad. Robert Woods comes in third, caught 4 of his 5 targets, 70 yards, receiving 2 receiving touchdowns, 21 points on the dot. Another Rams player, he was the one that went off the most. Sammy Watkins also scored, and Kupp had the quiet day, but Goff only had 22 attempts, and he didn't need to do more. Next, Doug Baldwin caught 7 of his 12 targets for 108 yards and a touchdown, 20.3 points. Second half, Seahawks, man. This was an ugly game all around. It wasn't really the second half. Russell Wilson, he did not have a great game. The offensive line is still in a little bit of shambles, and the Redskins' pass rush really got to him. But Doug Baldwin held his own, and is still considered. Why I still consider him a top play most weeks because of this. Next was your receiving yards leader for the week. Terrence Williams caught all 9 of his targets, 141 yards, no touchdowns, 18.6 points. It's a dart throw to see which second receiver will have a decent week. Cole Beasley also had a good week. He had 2 receiving touchdowns. Didn't quite make the list. But an overall great day for Dak and company, including Terrence Williams. Moving on to tight ends, the last of our shelf here. Julius Thomas, your number 1 tight end of the week, caught 6 of his 9 targets, 84 yards and a touchdown, 17.4 points. Slow start to the game, got going late. We finally got to see what he's capable of. As the whole Miami offense, like I spoke about with Cutler, finally got it going. Both running backs also had a great day as well. Travis Kelce caught 7 of his 9 targets for 73 yards and a touchdown, 16.8 points. A decent matchup. Chiefs overall, or not Chiefs, Dallas has been up and down against tight ends, but Kelce just keeps getting it done. Great day for him. Jared Cook caught 8 of his 9 targets for 126, 16.6. First drive of the game, he had 3 receptions for 58 yards, something like that. It was his game, his show. When we get to Wells here, and we'll talk about the receivers for Oakland, it's this offense needs to get going. They won. This is great for them. And I said that they needed to get going through the air for them to start winning games. But we got to see a more of a balanced attack from them finally take shape. Evan Ingram got 4 of his 10 targets, which is next, for 70 yards and a touchdown, 15 points on the dot. He continues to really be the only true target there outside of Sterling Shepard when he's healthy. And you see that this team is fucking gross, so Ingram is one of the lone bright spots on it. Next, the backup to Zach Ertz, the position that continues to fucking murder Denver. Trey Burton caught 2 of his 4 targets for 41 yards and a touchdown, 11.1 points. A little controversial on the actual touchdown catch. It stood kind of the same look to how Zach Miller should have had his call last week. They both should have stood. Zach Miller's didn't, which is what makes Trey Burton's touchdown catch a little controversial. But either way, Titans continue to kill Denver. Trey Burton was the next one in line, with Zach Ertz being declared out about an hour and a half before kickoff. So moving on to Wells. I didn't do the top 5. I just looked around to see some top name guys that maybe you guys have gotten played that sucked, so we're just going to move on. Quarterbacks, there's 3. Andy Dalton, 10 of 18 for 136. This game was so fucking disgusting. I didn't expect Fournette to not play, which changed the entire landscape of things. Bortles had himself a decent day for a Bortles type of game, but this entire game as a whole was just fucking disgusting. Kirk Cousins, 21 of 31 for 247. Not a great day, a day that you would expect against a Seattle defense and no offensive line. Cousins and the Redskins got the win. That's all that matters to them. But if you started Cousins like I did when I lost Watson, you just knew it wasn't going to be a great day. Brock Osweiler continues to prove why he should not be starting in the NFL. 19 of 38 for 208, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. That touchdown and those yards came in garbage time. Those picks came early. It was fucking disgusting. I don't know how he gets to start next week. I'm assuming it's because Paxton Lynch just isn't quite ready yet or healthy yet, or they want to give him at least one more week to get prepared with the first team offense, because Brock is fucking terrible. Moving on to running backs. Garrett Blount, 9 carries for 37 yards. Look, game script should have been more in his favor. They worked in Ajayi more. Smallwood got a couple touches. He's also part of this. I didn't put his stats down because it was we as a show expected him to be the odd man out. Corey Clement had the big day. Ajayi had a really, really nice day. So if you did YOLO start Ajayi, you got paid off by it. Blount, on the other hand, did not. Smallwood did not. We knew one of these 3 running backs, not including Ajayi, were not going to be included, and it looks to be a combination of Blount and Smallwood. TJ Yeldon, 11 carries for 41 yards, also caught 2 of his 4 targets for 11 yards, and he fumbled. This was his chance to really cement the role in this offense with Fournette being suspended. Chris Ivory, I don't believe, did that much better. Maybe a little bit better. It was just a bad day. And with Yeldon able to do his thing, was able to have a successful week 7 when he came in and took over for Ivory when Ivory was struggling. This really wasn't it. Ivory did get to start. Yeldon had his chances though, and he didn't do great for you. Alex Collins, after a nice big week against Miami, turns around and gives you a 13 carries for 43 yards, caught his lone target for 3 yards. This is the Ravens' backfield, and with Woodhead coming back here in the next couple weeks, it's going to get even gross. It's going to just be disgusting. Buck Allen has his role. Collins has kind of his role, though what is going to eat into more Buck Allen's role. Collins should still have his. This was just a really bad game for him. Tennessee has a decent defense against running backs. Then the big one is Kareem Hunt. 9 carries for 37 yards. The 9 carries is a season low for him. Caught 4 of his 5 targets. 4 of his 5 targets for 24 yards, which saves his day. But this was a matchup he should have really feasted on. In a shootout, this would have been great. But it looked like Charizard West got a lot of the second half carries when the game was a little out of hand for Kansas City. They just stopped using Hunt. They stopped running with them. They used West more. I'm thinking this isn't what we're going to be expected to see moving forward. But this is not great for Hunt owners. It's been the last couple of weeks. He's really come down to earth. If you need a running back and you want to buy low, though, I do like Kareem Hunt buy low on. I haven't looked at his schedule moving forward, but a lot like Jamal Charles and Spencer Ware last year, even though Ware really never turned it around, Hunt has the ability to bounce back of what we've seen, even watching his tape, to give you great weeks into what we saw earlier this year. This is just the Chiefs' offense kind of needing to figure their shit out again, and their defense just not doing a fucking thing to help them. Moving on to receivers, we're going to clump up just 2 teams of receivers here because it was that bad. Oakland receivers again dudded. Cooper caught 4 of his 9 targets for 58 yards. Crabtree was worse, though. He caught 3 of his 4 targets for 40 yards. This is since week 6. Cooper has out-targeted Crabtree. Crabtree hasn't led the team in targets, at least compared to Cooper, since week 6. It was a Jared Cook week. It should have been better for one of these 2 receivers. Cooper had another drop or 2. Derek Carr continues to miss these guys in bigger plays. There's a couple times where it looked like Cooper was going to get the big play, and Derek gets strip sacked or whatever. Either way, not a great game for these 2. And it looks like this Raider offense, even though I still expect it to blow up like it did against Kansas City, it's still tough. Next is even worse, though. And that is the imploding and sell all your Bucs shares. Bucs receivers, Jackson caught 2 of his 4 targets for 25 yards, while Evans really fucked you. Caught 1 of his 6 targets for 13 yards, and got a suspension, though he is appealing it. It's been announced that Winston is going to miss several weeks, which likely means the season based on where they're at. I'll get into that more of that with the news, but Bucs receivers, it's going to be hard to move Jackson, but if you can move Evans in a redraft, no keeper league, I would. Fitzmagic is not Jameis Winston. We've seen what he can do, and we definitely have seen what he can't do. So be a little nervous there. Lastly, with the receivers, Will Fuller, as we all expected, caught 2 of his 8 targets for 30 yards. He got missed a shit ton. Like Hopkins, he got missed a lot, but unlike Hopkins, Fuller can't adjust or can't make those type of plays that Hopkins can. So when Tom Savage when Tom Savage misses you a shit ton, and he can't really, expect you to win 50-50 balls, you're going to get plays like you saw this Sunday. And if you could have sold Fuller, 2-3 weeks ago, you would have been fucking better off. And hopefully you were able to. Otherwise, he is not droppable, even though I would drop him. I think he's done. Tight ends. We got 4 of them. ASJ got both his targets for 20 yards. Look, he has continued to be touchdown dependent. The Jets team, at least offensively, is on the rise, kind of, but we don't know who. Unlike running backs, we just don't know whose week is going to be. Robbie Anderson continues to be the most consistent receiver, but ASJ continues to be extremely touchdown dependent, and if you don't get a touchdown, he's going to give you shit. Cameron Brate caught 1 of his 4 targets for 9 yards. Just like with the Bucs receivers, Jackson and Evans, Brate got fucking screwed. The touchdown pass went to like the 3rd fucking tight end, so sorry. It just sucked right out. Jason Witten, massive dud, caught his lone target for 5 yards. This was supposed to be a great not a great matchup, but a good matchup. Chiefs have kind of have faltered a bit against tight ends recently, and he gave you this day. In a day where Dak was having a great day, Witten was not involved. Ed Dickson, goose egg, 2 targets during this time. The whole offense only total for, I think, 137 yards. It was fucking terrible. It was bad. We figured that Dickson would be able to be the big benefactor outside of Funches of no Kelvin Benjamin with being traded, and he gave you this. I don't know if this is a sign of things to come. I don't think it was really matchup because Atlanta's been, I think, above, a little below average or suspect against tight ends. I didn't necessarily look, but either way, from what we've kind of watched throughout the season, we figured Dickson wouldn't be able to give you really a goose egg. And with Greg Olsen coming back as soon as maybe next week, Dixon's droppable and probably not going to look forward. And you're just going to move ahead from him. So that's all I got. Those are your shelves and wells. I'm Dan Theory again at Theory BFF. You can follow my co-host Nick Sparks at Nick Sparks, Chris Hopper at Hop BFF with 2 P's, show page at Beerfield FF. Continue to follow us, like us, love us, all those good things, all the shit that I say, all the shit that we all say. And I will see you guys tonight for news. All right, peace.